Hello guys and welcome to my channel. So the other day I saw this quote in Spanish on the social network LinkedIn and I couldn't let it go unnoticed. It says, as you can see, don't let your emotions overpower your intelligence, which means basically do not let your feelings affect your intellect, your brain power, your reason. In other words, your mental capacity to think. It obviously and suddenly called my attention. It rang a bell on my head. Few years back, I remember to have read this text about how sentiments can produce an effect on our health. It goes like this. Very interestingly, after 20 years of research and practice as a cardiologist, Ornish wrote on his book Love and Survival that no other factor in medicine, not diet, not smoking, not exercise, not stress, not genetics, not drugs, and not even surgery affects our health, quality, and length of life more than feeling loved and cared for. Mr. Ornish, named Dean Michael Ornish, is an American physician, a researcher, and I wonder what made him come to that conclusion. Feelings or intelligence? Probably both. They went hand in hand, together. But which one came first? And which one is more important? And do we need to think to love? That's a debate, isn't it? He studied medicine, so of course he used his thinking to learn. But the question is, he had to pass through all these experiments in his research to realize that love is the ultimate therapy for a healthy lifestyle? We are always collecting and memorizing a bunch of theoretical information continuously. We try to understand it, bring it to practice, we learn to read it, think it, and argue it. For that reason, people use a very high percent of their knowledge to try to heal others, forgetting that it is said that a simple hack can release the bonding hormone and neurotransmitter oxytocin, which is a natural antidepressant. So I ask you guys, what if the world healing seriously depends on that? On loving and caring for each other, trying to be less competitive like if we were in a rush? Literally, some people are designed only to think too much and feel too little. In a world full of exams, works, thesis, research, since childhood, repeating all the way the same information. Isn't saying again what others said previously kind of making us more slow learners of reality? Some people have problems and struggle to have their own opinion. Shouldn't we help them to realize that life is more than copying others? Individuality is the particular feature of our personality that make us distinguish from each other. There is a movie called Antoine Fisher from 2002, based on real events, in which a boy named Antoine had been abused from childhood, and Dr. Jerome Davenport, played by Denzel Washington, says and recommends him to read the book The Slave Community to make him comprehend why he was tortured physically and mentally by his family, Mrs. Tate, and her adult daughter. It seems the mistreatment he suffered is the consequence of the treatment the slaves received from his owners, transmitted from generation to generation, like if heritage had something to do with repeating the same mistakes over and over. And here comes the key point: supremacy. The faith in believing that one individual is superior compared to the rest. What I say, it is what it has to be done and carried out. The problem comes when the person thinks it's the right thing to do. What is right to you could be wrong for others. So in this case, the person that is wrong, the Tates, are mentally sick. Now, talking about diseases, why some populations suffer from them, whereas the others don't? What makes the difference? Can our cells have some kind of memory to repeat again the same errors and mutate or die? The person that suffers from a cardiopathy could be inherited by parents. But what about the one that is born sick, with no inheritance, at least from close relatives? Why not all the diseases are genetical, so we can understand them? Neil deGrasse Tyson says in the series Cosmos, A Space-Time Odyssey 2014 that mutations are entirely random and happen all the time, but the environment rewards those that increase the chance of our survival. It naturally selects the living things that are better suited to survive. And that selection is the opposite of random. This part is my favorite till now, because it still keeps me thinking. What if mutations are not random? I see kind of paradox in this, because the sentence has no sense like that. If selection is not random, then mutation either, because that selection comes from that mutation. What if the mutation is a genetical selection of, for example, a bear's better adaptation to the surrounding? I'm brown, but I prefer to be white, so I can hide in the snow in order not to be seen if a prey is close. One 2017 study claimed that 66% of cancer-causing mutations are random, 29% are due to the environment, and 5% are inherited. So, what is this randomness? According to Wikipedia, randomness is the apparent or actual lack of pattern or predictability in events. A random sequence of events, symbols, or steps often has no order and does not follow an intelligible pattern or combination. Individual random events are, by definition, unpredictable. But we are talking about inanimate or non-living objects, like a dice, while cells are living units. What I mean is that cells have the capacity to make a decision according to what is best for them. Then guys, don't you think that evolution is giving us the key for our own survival, but we don't pay attention to the details? I've always said that science makes us progress, improve, and move forward, but also makes us to go back, like Nietzsche's eternal return, like a loop, always going to the starting point without letting us to arrive to the finish line and reaching our goals. To be honest, I'm even afraid of the concept of infinite. We are not ready to understand it. But maybe there are things we don't need to understand. They are simply there, and living with mystery is what gives us the stimulus to go on. What do you think or feel about all this topic? Let me know in the comments below. I will really appreciate it. See ya!